Everybody, it's Justin. Welcome to Live Ask Me Anything number 96. We missed last week. It's good to be back, everybody. Thanks for being here. AMA number 96. We're going to focus on fitness tonight, basically exercise. We're going to talk about exercise versus movement versus this idea of fitness versus this idea of training and all these words that get thrown around all the time. We're going to dig into those. I'm happy to be here. Missed last week. Last week was just a crazy, crazy week. And this is going to be a really good episode. There's a lot of stuff I want to dig into. Those of you that are in the Clovis groups, in the Clovis Academy, or I Am Clovis, or the Clovis Challenge group, or any of those groups, know that I've been really on this fitness kick lately. So we're definitely going to dig into that. What's up, everybody? Hey Elizabeth. Hey Judy. Hey Catherine. Hey Kathy. Hey Stephanie. Hey, what's up, Kerrigan? How you doing, brother? Good to see you guys here. Thanks for being here. This is a good one. And a couple things. One, I just tried something new, which I guess Facebook, when I go live on the computer, now allows me to share this into a group. So this might actually be in the Clovis Academy now. I just chose to share it to the Clovis Academy. So that might share it to the Clovis Academy wall, which is awesome. You should also share this to your wall because we are on the public Clovis Culture Facebook page, which means you can share this to your wall. You can click the share button right now. There's already one share. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Click the love button, click the happy button, click the smiley button, the laughing button, the wow button, the angry button. I don't care which one you click, but the more engagement, the better for the algorithms run by the Facebook gods. So do me a favor, make sure that as many people as possible see this. You can tag your friends in this video as well. Just click the @ symbol in the comments, start typing in your friend's name, and you can basically share this with them. Let them know that you think this video would be beneficial to them. You can tag them right in the comments. All right, so let's dig into this because this is a big topic to untangle. And I've been writing about this a lot recently that I haven't released yet. So just so you know, I am going to be releasing a Just Justin episode that is all about this. And I'm probably going to release that this coming Saturday, I think. Yeah, probably this coming Saturday, depends on when I can get it recorded. But I really, really want to do just a full-blown Just Justin episode about this because I'm obsessed with this topic right now, completely obsessed. And I'm completely obsessed with changing the way that you see fitness, changing the way that you see fitness / exercise / training / movement. Again, like we said, just changing the way the world sees it as a whole. So if you're a fan of mine, if you've been consuming Clovis content for a long time or whatever, you know that I am 150% convinced that the mainstream has nutrition 100% wrong. I love how I just make up percentages, right? I'm 150% convinced that 100% of the mainstream has everything about nutrition 800% wrong. Statistics, math, everybody. As it was legit. Okay. But no, I am truly convinced that mainstream nutrition gets exactly nothing right. I can't think of a single thing that they get right. It's just ridiculous. For the past 7 decades, they've done nothing but get everything wrong. So the nutrition space is awful for this. But I feel the exact same way about the mainstream fitness industry. The nutrition industry, terrible, gets everything wrong. Fitness industry, terrible, gets everything wrong. It's the same exact thing. And I see the same patterns where nutrition is more. What supplement can I take? What superfood can I eat? What product can I add to my regimen to make my health, blah, 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 blah. When you really just got to get rid of all the bullshit, right? You got to get rid of the stress. You got to get rid of the inflammatory triggers. You got to get rid of the processed junks. You got to get rid of the hydrogenated oils. You got to get rid of the refined sugars. And a lot of times you got to get rid of the supplements that you don't freaking need. There's so many supplements people are taking, they don't even know why, right? So remove. Fitness is the same way. And that is what I'm going to walk you through here tonight because I want you guys to have the same understanding of fitness that I do. So again, I'm going to do a whole Just Justin episode on this, but I'm going to dig in a little bit into it tonight. And I want to give you guys basically a toolbox for being a fit person for the rest of your life. So I'm going to make you a promise right now. Stick around to the end of this episode because I promise you, if you just listen to this episode right now, you will have everything that you need to be in good physical shape for the rest of your life. Now, I'm not saying that's going to make you an MMA fighter. I'm not saying it's going to make you a successful CrossFit athlete. I'm not saying it's going to make you anything other than healthy. Okay, it's just going to make you healthy with a focus on optimal health and wellness with a particular focus on longevity, aging well. That is what I focus on more than anything else these days. Okay. So this is what I want to talk about tonight. And I want to give you the tools that you need to have the same toolbox that I have in my personal life. So let's dig into this, right? So first and foremost, I want you guys to know that as what my life looks like right now is that my training, quote unquote, we'll call it training. Let's just call it exercise. My exercise is different every single day, and I never know what that is going to look like. I never know the day beforehand. If I do know the day beforehand, it's very, very rare that the world actually allows my plan to happen. Okay. So my life is very, very, very busy. Okay. We'll dig into that. But my life is very busy. So basically, it's once I wake up or get through my morning routine, I see how I'm feeling. I see what my Oura ring tells me in terms of my readiness score. How was my sleep the night before? What's my recovery like? What's my agenda for the day? Then once my first cup of coffee is down and I end up getting into the email inbox, a lot of times fires are lit that need to be put out. So my day can get blown up in an instant. Anybody who has children knows what I'm talking about here. If you have kids, you have one plan for the day, and it almost never goes that way. The same thing goes for a person like me who has 300 irons in the fire at all times and runs multiple different companies and has multiple different side hustles and multiple different hobbies and multiple different interpersonal relationships and blah, 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 right? So it's very rare that my day goes exactly as I planned. So I'm gonna give you an example. Well, not an example. I will tell you that the best decision I ever made, and it took me 17 years of being a fitness guy, 17 years of kicking the holy shit out of myself in ways you can't even imagine, 17 years of this before I finally discovered the number one thing that has given me the biggest return on investment in terms of my fitness. That is ditching arbitrary calendars. Because I am meticulous and OCD about calendars. That's not good. Like I've told you guys this before, when I do something like a P90X, if I miss a day, I try to do 2 workouts the next day. If I miss 2 days and it's on week 3, I got to start the whole fucking program over. I'm like, oh, I missed 3 days. I didn't do the calendar. The number one thing I did for my fitness was stopped caring about the calendar. So like we just talked about with, I might wake up last night, right? I went to my buddy Patrick Thomas' Christmas show. It was amazing, beautiful Christmas show. I went with friends and family and a big group of us, and we went to dinner to an amazing restaurant beforehand, and they have biodynamic wine. We drank 2 bottles of biodynamic wine. Then we went to the concert. Oh, they have wine at the concert. Well, let's drink some more wine, right? And then my buddy Casey, who's a famous drummer who I never get to see anymore, is like, come get a drink after the show. Next thing I know, it's 2 a.m. and I planned to train heavy today. That did not happen today. I woke up and my Oura ring was like, your body temperature is elevated. It took you longer than usual to fall asleep. You had shitty deep sleep. Your heart rate is elevated. You're probably not fully recovered. It's literally like, take it easy today, okay? So I'm not going to be a dummy and go murder myself, but I'm still going to do some exercise. I exercise daily no matter what, okay? But this is an example of me adjusting according to how life goes. Life ebbs and flows, okay? These things you just need to work with your schedule, not constantly smash your head into a wall where all the planets and stars have to align perfectly for you to get in the workout that you wanted to get in. Because that's what everybody does. They schedule the workout, then life comes up and they go, meh, I don't have 2 hours to put on my fancy Lululemon and drive to the gym and go do the workout and recover and get a smoothie at the smoothie bar and then drive back home and take a shower. I don't have that 2 hours, so I'm not going to do shit all day. This is what people do. And this is where you get into trouble, where you become just not a fit person, right? So, and I'll give you another example about this arbitrary calendar is you guys heard my episode with Dr. Wes Hendricks, and I was doing his movement. I'm still technically doing his movement fix program called Body Weight Program. His Body Weight Program is 12 weeks. I went 5 weeks of absolutely crushing this, like 5 days a week, doing every single workout. Every workout takes at least an hour. Honestly, they're lengthy workouts, but I really enjoy them. I did 5 weeks of crushing this. Then what happens? My house is an Airbnb. And all of a sudden somebody books 10 days at my Airbnb. Then there's Thanksgiving. Then I'm staying in a different location and blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden paleo powder starts selling out. Fat loss paleo powder sells out. I built out a brand new Clovis 5-day challenge that's launching January 1st. I'm making Clovis electrolytes. I'm making a brand new paleo powder behind the scenes. I have all these things going on. It's just madness. I'm booking podcasts. I got a hunting trip coming up. I have a trip to Mexico coming up. Insanity, right? So all of a sudden, that body weight program drops on my list of priorities. That doesn't mean it's not a priority. It just means it was surpassed by other things that are now taking precedence, things that are more critically important that I have to focus on. There was no chance for the last few weeks of me being able to do this body weight training program and doing an hour of training every day. That said, even though the body weight training program is no longer a priority, health is always my number one priority. So just because I stopped the body weight program, the special fancy 12-week program with 5 days a week of exercise, just because I stopped that doesn't mean I stop exercise at all. I exercised every damn day, okay? This is the toolbox that I want to give you. I want you to understand that after 17 years of me being in this crazy fitness industry, I have a toolbox that allows me to be a fit person and look the way that I do and have muscles 100% of the time with very, very, very little effort. I probably spend less time working out than most of you do. Honestly, I probably spend less time working out than most overweight people do. That is what they can't seem to grasp because nobody has ever taught them, because the mainstream has brainwashed them, okay? This is super important. So I'm going to give you the same tools that I have in my toolbox to be in shape 100% of the time, no matter what life throws at me, no matter where I am on this crazy planet that I travel around, right? I can do these things anywhere. I'm going to give you that same toolbox. Those of you that are watching this, that are athletes or want to be athletes or weekend warriors or whatever, right? If you want to deadlift 500 pounds, your training is going to have to be different. If you want to compete in jiu-jitsu, your training is going to have to be different. You want to be a triathlete, your training is going to have to be different, okay? So don't complain about this episode. This is for the vast majority of people who don't love fitness and are just trying to be healthy. They just want optimal health and wellness. So number one is always going to be mastering body weight movements. With body weight training, there's a couple of modalities that I like people to do. One, we're going to focus on what would essentially be the big five in powerlifting. These are pushing movements, pulling movements, and hip hinge movements like squats. Right? So we might look at, in powerlifting, you have a bench press. So let's talk about a push-up. You have a strict military press. So let's talk about a shoulder press on the ground, just putting yourself in sort of a downward dog position and doing a shoulder press. You have a barbell back squat. Let's talk about a body weight squat or a pistol squat, right? You have a row, a barbell row. So let's talk about a pull-up or a chin-up, okay? Hand grip, not a big deal. And then we have abdominal exercises. We could talk about reverse crunches. We could talk about toes to bar. We could talk about normal crunches, whatever it is that you want to do. Very, very easy bodyweight movements that anybody can do because they can be modified to any fitness level. If you can't do a pull-up, cool. Jump over the bar and hold yourself until you shake and tremble and have to let go. If you can't even do that, literally just grab the bar, pick your feet up off the ground, and hang for as long as you can. That's your rep. Okay, so you can modify this. Anybody can modify this to match any fitness level, and that's the beauty of it. So with body weight, I have a video of this in the I Am Clovis membership section, which is time under tension. This is the really slow and controlled, very, very short range of motion because you never lock your elbows out. You never have your chest touch the ground, an example of a push-up. 5 seconds down, 5 seconds up, okay, on these reps. You're counting real slow 5 seconds. I actually use a metronome to make sure that it's 60 beats per minute. 60 beats per minute is 1 click per second, you know? So those slow controlled movements to complete failure. This works really well. You can watch my example of a 10-minute time under tension body weight workout with a few different movements inside the I Am Clovis membership platform. The limitation that I see with this time under tension is mindset. Most of you have no idea what muscle failure actually feels like. And that's not an insult. It's just you don't have the experience. So I use this funny term when I do time under tension work, when I do it weighted with machines or when I do it with body weight. I don't quit when it hurts. I quit when my limbs cease to function. That's the way that my mindset handles this time under tension stuff. I can't get most people there in the beginning. They go, oh my God, it burns, and they stop and just collapse, right? So that's the limitation, is I can't really take people to where they need to go with the time under tension because it's such a foreign feeling. It's so much burn that they just can't even fathom this, you know? So we can get them there eventually with a little bit of coaching. So that's why I actually like this next modality, which is called demand training, I like this even better. So I talked about this in a couple previous podcasts where I talk about this idea of triple failure, taking body weight to triple failure. This works for everybody in the whole wide world, no matter what your fitness level is. So let's use the example of a push-up again, okay? We want to give the body an appropriate demand, which equals a beneficial response. You need an appropriate demand. So I might be able to do 50 strict push-ups in one set. You might be able to do 4 push-ups on your knees. That might be where you're at in your current physical fitness level. Beautiful. It doesn't matter. We're both going to get the same workout that's appropriate for our body. I'm going to give my body an appropriate demand. You're going to give your body an appropriate demand. So let's say this idea of triple failure, we'll walk through this. If you are doing push-ups on your knees and you can only do 5, then you're going to do those 5, rest 20 seconds, and then try to do as many as you can again until you fail. Then you're going to rest 20 seconds. You might only get 2 that time. And you rest 20 seconds, try to get as many as you can again. You might get 1 or 0. You might try to do 1 and just collapse right to the floor. That's triple failure. You've gone to failure 3 different times with teeny tiny little micro breaks in between, okay? Then what I like to see people do after triple failure is get down to the halfway position of the push-up and just hold until you start to shake and tremble until your body collapses. So I guess we could call it quadruple failure, but it's really just triple failure and then an isometric hold. That's it. That's your whole push-up exercise. You're done, right? Then we might have you do this with pull-ups or just hanging, like I said, or just holding your chin over the bar and lowering as slowly as you can. Or you might be somebody like me who can do a boatload of bodyweight chin-ups in a row, right? Same thing, triple failure. Then we might do bodyweight squats, triple failure. Or I love to do jump squats. Jump squats is my favorite to do, but a lot of people can't do jump squats right from the jump. So I'll do jump squats, which is down into a deep squat, jump up in the air like you would a burpee, your whole body extended, land, jump squat, over and over and over. And I'll just do as many as I can for 30 seconds, rest 30 seconds, as many as I can for 30 seconds, rest 30 seconds, as many as I can for 30 seconds, call it a day. That's it. So if it's a day where I just am super pressed for time, I can do push-ups, pull-ups, jump squats, done. My workout is done, and it will take me less than 12 minutes. Assuredly less than 12 minutes. And anybody can do these things. If you can't do jump squats, you can do bodyweight squats. If you can't do bodyweight squats, you can literally hold onto a doorknob or a door frame and do assisted bodyweight squats. You can modify this in any way that you need to for any lack of mobility or any lack of physical fitness, right? It's beautiful. You give your body the exact adaptation that it needs. Appropriate demand equals beneficial response, okay? Now, the limitations I've found with demand training are exactly none. Literally none. I have found nothing wrong with this program. There's just, you can do it anywhere. If you don't have a pull-up bar, okay, cool, tough. You'll do an extra pushing exercise or an extra leg exercise or add in some ab accessory work, right? You work with what you have. You can literally do this with 0 equipment. You need no equipment whatsoever to do this kind of demand training. And you can do it at any physical fitness level, period. It's beautiful, okay? So we have body weight, time under tension, body weight demand training, my personal favorite. And then if I'm home, this is a luxury. If I have kettlebells, I love kettlebells. Now, the limitations right off the bat with kettlebells are travel, because most people do not use heavy enough kettlebells. So if I'm doing something like Simple and Sinister by Pavel Tsatsouline, I'm doing a 70-pound kettlebell. I'm not traveling with a 70-pound kettlebell. It's never going to happen. Why would I ever do that? I'm not going to travel with a 70-pound kettlebell. So this is something I can really only do at home. The other limitation is you do want to work with a trainer when it comes to kettlebells because the learning curve is quite steep for form and you can hurt yourself. There are great videos online and stuff, so you can figure this out. I've figured out kettlebell training mostly myself before I then went and worked with some of the top experts in the world, like people that were, literally friends and founders of Strong First with Pavel and everything. So I got to work with some really legit people one-on-one in a setting, which was really cool. I didn't have to do like a class or anything like that. I just happened to get introduced to these guys and was able to learn kettlebells in a really, really significant way. So super cool. I love kettlebells. And the other thing is just yoga, right? Everybody should have a 30-minute yoga flow memorized. And what I mean by that is if you go in the I Am Clovis membership section, again, those of you that don't take full advantage of your I Am Clovis membership section, there's a 5-minute yoga flow that I start each morning with. So you can take that yoga flow and do it 3 times in a row, and all of a sudden you have a 15-minute yoga flow. And keep doing it, you have a 30-minute yoga flow. It's the same core movements that you can just memorize So if you have 10 minutes, you can do it. If you have 30 minutes, you can do it, right? So you can just do this yoga flow. If you know a yoga flow, if you know some kettlebell movements, if you've done demand training with body weight, if you've done time under tension with body weight, you're done, ladies and gentlemen. That's literally it. That's all you need for the rest of your life. And you know what? We can take kettlebells and yoga right out of the equation, and you could just do the body weight stuff for the rest of your life. That's literally all that you need. But for some reason, everybody likes to pretend that they have some lofty fitness goals that they're going to do. I don't get it. Like, most of you just want to be happy and healthy and optimizing for health and wellness. And somehow you watch your favorite fitness Instagram influencer, or you see me do something online, or you hear the podcast with Dr. Wes Hendricks, and all of a sudden you decide that you're going to do handstands, and you're going to do jujitsu, and you're going to do powerlifting, and you're going to do this, that, the other thing, and you decide on all the things you're going to do, and you watch all the videos online and all the programs, and then you never do a fucking thing, right? You just get overwhelmed and you never do anything. That's it. You never start. It's overwhelming, right? It's not overwhelming if I tell you you're going to give me 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day of body weight, and you're going to handle this very correctly. Okay. Now, if I have the luxury of freedom, if I have the luxury of time, right? If I have a day where I'm like, man, I got a bunch of stuff done today, my afternoon's wide open, I'm going to do a Dr. Wes Hendricks movement fix body weight workout program, or I might spend 45 minutes focusing on handstands because I really love that, or do the whole body weight program workout, or I might focus on ring work. I might be doing gymnastics ring works because I love doing that, focusing on skill stuff. Skill stuff is a luxury. My ultimate goal in life is not the perfect handstand. My goal in life is to change the world, right? I'm out there doing important shit, stuff that's way more important than holding a handstand for Instagram, right? I'm working on important things. So the priorities have to be aligned correctly. If I have the luxury of time, then I can work on my skills and things that I'd like to do just because they're fun. But I'm always going to cover my fitness bases in the easiest way possible. To cover your base level exercise needs for each day is incredibly simple, incredibly simple. Again, I'm going to dig into this in more detail in just an episode. But the thing about it is, I say this in this episode, is that if the entire fitness industry were to adopt what I just told you, this approach to fitness, 99.99999% of all paid fitness programs and personal trainers would go away overnight. Would literally go away overnight. That's it. The fitness industry works and stays profitable because we have misaligned goals. So people are literally, they're not aligned with their goals. So they say, I want to be healthy and in shape, and they go to a personal trainer and they get sold some ridiculous program that makes no sense to them, that they want no part of, they don't enjoy doing, they're not going to do it long term. It crumbles, falls apart, you quit. That trainer has the next person behind you waiting in line to sign up for their nonsense program that they're not going to do long term, and they're going to quit, blah, blah, blah. They might have a couple clients that stay for 2 months, some stay for 8 months, some might stay for a year. Holy crap. And then they just get recycled, and the next person in line who's a sucker and is getting pulled into this thing, because the trainers don't know that they're doing harm, or don't know that they're not doing well, because they just know what they've been taught, right? When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. This is what we're dealing with personal trainers today in America. It's really tricky. So you just have this revolving door of overweight, unhealthy people coming through to the personal trainers and just getting chewed up and spit out over and over and over and over. If you were to adopt this, holy crap, wait, you just literally taught me how to be in shape for the rest of my life, and it took you 23 minutes of a Facebook Live to explain this to me. And we did intros. Hi, everybody. How's it going? I'm Justin. So I probably just took 15 minutes to tell you exactly how to be in shape for the rest of your life. If you go back and listen to this and take notes, write it down, you can be fit for the rest of your life in 10 minutes a day. This isn't an infomercial. I'm not selling you shit. This is a free podcast. I make nothing off this. We could evaporate the entire fitness industry overnight. People would still go to Muay Thai gyms. They would still want to train jujitsu. They would still want to train calisthenics. Some people would still want to do CrossFit. They would want to compete in CrossFit, right? But it's the bullshit Planet Fitness Globo gyms with personal trainers that would be evaporated overnight. It's everything that's wrong with the fitness industry would go away overnight, right? I don't hate CrossFit. I love CrossFit. If people really want to do CrossFit. When you take an obese woman and put her in a CrossFit gym and say, this is how you lose fat, we're doing snatches for time, I will punch you in the face if you tell a woman that. That's just irresponsible and rude and mean and cruel. This is not the way that the human body works. That is an inappropriate demand, which will yield an inappropriate adaptation, a harmful adaptation. It's really this simple, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. I could end the AMA right here if this is all we wanted to talk about. So if you have questions of this, just let me know. And the thing to remember is the reason why demand training works so well is because you can do this even when you're tired. The body will fail when it's time to fail because you're not falsely loading it with barbells and plates or machines or all these things, right? If you only slept 4 hours, like I slept like 4.5 hours or something last night, right? So did I work out today? Yes. Guess what I did? Demand training. I did push-ups. Well, technically fancy push-ups. They were like planche push-ups, but that's a calisthenics thing, right? So I did push-ups, I did chin-ups, and then I did jump squats. And then I sat in my sauna for 30 minutes. Beautiful. That's what I had time for today. That's it. And my Oura Ring was telling me that I was crappy recovery and didn't have a high readiness score or anything. It doesn't make sense for me to swing a 70-pound kettlebell today. That doesn't make sense. I did something that was appropriate for my body. Okay? So if you slept 4 hours and you just decide to do your, push-ups on your knees, when you usually get 5, maybe you only get 3 today. And then the second set, you only get 1. And the third set, you get 0. Okay, that's all your body could handle that day. But the risk of injury with demand training body weight is virtually 0. There's never a 0% chance of injury. That's impossible. But it's as close to 0 as you can get in the land of fitness. That's it. Just body weight demand training, as close to 0 as you're going to get in terms of risk factor for injury. Now, what do people do instead? The high powering alpha people, right? I slept 4 hours, but I scheduled a CrossFit workout at 5 a.m. and I'm going to be there. Come hell or high water, I'm going to be there. It doesn't matter that I slept 4 hours. And then they go to the gym and they put 250 pounds on a barbell and they squat it. Something pops and they're like, oh my God, I got hurt. And then they're at their chiropractor or their massage therapist or whatever, like, I don't know what happened. I've been doing squats just fine all this time. And now all of a sudden I'm hurt. Like they're shocked that this happened somehow. It's so silly. It's so silly, everybody. You don't get any brownie points for suffering, particularly not if you're getting paid for it, right? If you're not getting paid for it. Most of you don't get paid for fitness. Last time I checked. Why are you going to go suffer? Doesn't make any sense at all, okay? So that's it. Nice and easy. All right. If you guys have any questions, drop them in here. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the idea of aerobic threshold training, because I have a few questions surrounding this. I get questions about aerobic threshold training a lot. And what I've noticed is that some of the questions confuse me because I'm like, oh, wait a second. And then I realized that I may not have, in all the times I've talked about aerobic threshold training for fat loss, is my favorite type of cardio for fat loss, right? If all the times I've talked about this, I don't know if I've ever just detailed the fact and made it very clear to you that every single time I'm talking about aerobic threshold training, I am already making the assumption that you are following a Clovis nutrition protocol with proper carbohydrate intake, okay? So that's what I realize as I go into this conversation about how amazing aerobic threshold training is. I forget most of you don't have custom nutrition plans from me. Most of my podcast listeners don't even have the approved foods list. They just listen to me, right? So most people listen to me and they go, that aerobic threshold training stuff sounds really cool. Justin says it turns you into a fat burning furnace. And then they go try aerobic threshold training, or they reach out to me or email me like, how do I do aerobic threshold training? And I tell them, and I forget, wait a second. Aerobic threshold training is literally useless if you are not taking in an appropriate amount of carbohydrates. I even hesitate to say things like low carb because I think normal human intake of carbohydrates is low carb, but everyone likes to argue with me on this. So you have to be taking in a low enough number of carbohydrates that aerobic threshold training can actually help you with fat adaptation and help you burn stored body fat. If you are on a high carbohydrate diet and just try to adopt aerobic threshold training, you are wasting every second of your time. You're doing nothing, okay? So I don't know if I've ever been just ridiculously in your face clear about that. I love aerobic threshold training. It's virtually the only kind of steady state cardio that I would ever recommend, okay? Love aerobic threshold training for the purpose of burning body fat. I like it even better when you're in a fasted state for burning body fat, okay? But I've had a lot of people talking to me about aerobic threshold training lately, and I realized this person has never bought anything from Clovis. They don't have a custom nutrition plan. They're not taking paleo powder. I don't know what their daily diet looks like. Or if you're someone who is Clovis and has the approved foods list or has a custom nutrition plan or whatever, and you're like kind of on, but not really, you're like off the wagon. You're like, oh, I'm still eating ice cream, or I'm still having occasional bagels at the office or whatever. And you try aerobic threshold training, it's not going to burn your body fat. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. We are banking on the fact that you're going to have very, very low glycogen stores in your liver. That's the only way that this works, right? We put an aerobic demand on the body, which allows you to oxidize fat for fuel, okay? So you get to actually oxidize your own body fat, turn it into fatty acids, convert it into ketones, burn it for energy. That doesn't work if there's a surplus of glucose in the system. If you have a bunch of if your liver glycogen stores are full and your muscle glycogen stores are full and you're eating 200 grams of carbohydrates a day and you have all this free glucose floating around, you could do aerobic threshold training for hours and you won't burn body fat. So if you're not fully Clovis, don't try aerobic threshold training and then write to me and say, I've been doing aerobic threshold training for 4 weeks and I haven't lost any fat. That's because your nutrition is not proper. You're not following the proper nutrition protocol, so you're wasting your time. You see? So details matter. As I always say, details matter. And I think that's really my bad. I think I've realized that in all these times I've talked about aerobic threshold training that I don't think that I've told you guys, like, wait. If you're on a high carb diet, this doesn't work. This does not apply to you. The recommendation doesn't apply to you at all. So understand, every single time that I am talking about aerobic threshold training, I am already making the automatic assumption that you are at a proper dietary carbohydrate intake for this to work and to be beneficial for you at all, okay? Let's see what else we got here. This sounds doable to me. I think I'm gonna try it. Now that I've lost 50 pounds, I kind of feel like I should be doing something. Yes, exactly, and this is the thing. This is why I'm always very vocal about when people come to me that are, you were significantly overweight when you came to me. So you're not ready for intense fitness. This is where I go through my whole thing of like, sit on the ground. If you can't get up off the ground without using your hands, you're not ready for intense fitness. Like if you can't do a strict push-up, you have no business in a CrossFit gym, right? So all these little things that are really important. So I just have to blanket statement you when you come to Clovis and say, you're not going to exercise for the next 30 days. You can go for walks outside and that's it. I'm not going to walk you through demand training or time under tension body weight training week 1 out the gate. Plus you all come to me when you're over 30 pounds overweight. If you're an obese person, you have so much healing to do. It's not even funny. We have to get rid of so many underlying problems first before we can even go down this road. That said, this type of demand training works for just about everyone because some of you can't do a single body weight squat, right? That's off the table for you. So you literally might just sit on the ground, get up off the ground, rest 20 seconds, sit on the ground, get up off the ground, rest 20 seconds, sit on the ground, get up off the ground. That's your workout for the day, right? And I say these things out loud and people think that it sounds crazy. It's not crazy. 85% of the population is overweight and obese. What I just named, 3 reps of getting down on the ground and up off the ground, is an actual workout, probably for the vast majority of the American population. This is why the fitness industry is so screwed up. They can't seem to wrap their egotistical brains around that with their 12-pack abs. What do you mean you're just getting up and down off the ground? Well, we're doing a boot camp workout. You need this, and then you need a green smoothie after. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, right? So demand training is appropriate for just about everybody, but I probably won't have people do it day 1. But if you don't have a custom nutrition plan, get on it. You're missing out. Yeah, Laura, that's a fantastic comment. I love in the podcast. I wonder if people think I just said that out of nowhere because I didn't read your name first. It's like, by the way, if you don't have a custom nutrition plan, get on it. You're missing out. I am God's gift to nutrition and fitness, right? I'm so bad at selling my own stuff. It's crazy. What else we got? One day it's going to be $1,000. Get one now while it's $49. Yeah, so she's talking about a custom nutrition plan. So my custom nutrition plan will never be $1,000. But working with me that's going to be a tiered thing that will change going forward in the future. So I'm working on some really, really cool stuff to give really low entry level custom nutrition plans for just like everyone can afford it. But at the end of the day, you guys that are in Clovis OGs and have been around for quite some time, I'm not all that great at making money. So at some point I have to change this company in a way where it's sustainable. It's not sustainable at this point. I know that people love Clovis. There are doctors now prescribing Clovis that I know of. Literally, I know of personal doctors doing this. But yeah, I mean, I love that everybody loves my content, but not a lot of people pay me for it. So I have to rethink some things in 2020 and figure out how to make this a bit more sustainable so none of this goes away, okay? Because that would really suck. What else we got here? Okay, Donnie, if you get time for this one, last week you mentioned that you don't recommend intermittent fasting. I think it was the context of females long term. What's the biochemistry here? For most of the year, I've only been doing OMAD to hit my macros, but is there something I am missing to why this would not be optimal? What I know would seem to say that lowering eating frequency would on paper be like, God damn, that's a long question, dude. I'm done reading your question. Okay, so what you're saying is intermittent fasting. Yes, so I had a wonderful conversation with Rob Wolf about this recently, and I am on the fence. I'm torn. I think a lot of the longevity people are just wrong. I think a lot of what we're seeing in terms of the benefits of fasting, which I am a huge proponent of the benefits of fasting. I have fixed so many things in people by using fasting strategically, okay? But I need you to understand something. At the end of the day, fasting is just really, really exaggerated caloric restriction. And now we have all this data about caloric restriction extending lifespan and autophagy and apoptosis and all of these things. So to answer your question about females, I don't know the exact biochemistry of why the wheels fall off, but I think, this sounds terrible to say, it's the fault of the individual, not the fault of the fasting. In which case, I'm forced to look at this and say, what is the compliance rate here? Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? And most of the time it's no. So women will do 16 hours intermittent fasting. Now, keep in mind, women come to me and I ask them to eat more food than they have ever consumed in their lives because they've been brainwashed that fewer calories equals more weight loss, which is not true. So they're already brainwashed. They struggle to eat as much as I want them to eat right from the jump. So this intermittent fasting thing comes in. Now they have an 8-hour window that they can fit all of these calories in that they're not used to eating. I might be asking them to eat 1,500 calories and they're used to eating 800, right? So all of a sudden they have to fit 1,500 calories and way more protein than they're used to eating in an 8-hour window, and virtually none of them do it, okay? So that's why I think the wheels fall off. You have women that do long-term intermittent fasting and all of a sudden they're like, my hair is falling out and I'm freezing cold all the time and I'm pale and I'm tired and blah, 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 right? This is probably a micronutrient / protein deficiency. They're not hitting their protein macros. They're not hitting their macros in general. So now they're doing intermittent fasting. And on top of that, they're going, Justin says I need to eat 45 grams of carbs a day. I'm going to eat 5 and lose more fat. They just decide they know better than I do. This is where I talk about the tweakers, the constant tweaking. So I think that this phenomenon of women doing really poorly on intermittent fasting is just a matter of they don't have the expertise. They're new to this. They're new to this lifestyle. I can't expect them to know these things perfectly, but they just tweak way too much and they don't follow the protocol precisely and they don't hit their macros within the feeding window. Now they're just chronically at a micronutrient deficiency. So I think the biochemistry is actually a micronutrient deficiency at the end of the day. Now, you talking about OMAD, I totally understand. I fall into OMAD a lot of the time. For those that don't know, OMAD is 1 meal a day. I fall into OMAD a lot of the time just because I'm busy. Again, I just get busy. Sometimes I literally forget to eat and haven't stepped away from my computer from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I'm like, shit, I should probably eat some food and get a little bit of exercise in, right? This happens to me all the time. So in terms of OMAD, a lot of the benefits I think guys are seeing. One, I'm not a guy who can sit down. I don't like to eat 3,000 calories at one meal. That is miserable to me. I do not enjoy that. Some people do. That's cool. So when I do 1 meal a day, I tend to undereat significantly. Like I ate 1 meal today. It was probably 1,600 calories. And I worked out a little bit at least, and I did the sauna. So it's like I probably underate today, but it's cool, whatever, not the end of the world. I've got this stuff down. I don't worry too much about the ins and outs. I don't track anything. So I'm just guessing, right? But in terms of the 1 meal a day or this caloric restriction thing, right? This idea of intermittent fasting. So what I talked to Rob Wolf about is that all of this caloric restriction stuff, the reason why it's so beneficial is because we eat like shit as Americans. So even all of the animal studies that we have on caloric restriction being beneficial, you have to understand that in these animal studies, they're feeding these animals toxic sludge. Like if they want to feed them high fat, low carb, it's all hydrogenated vegetable oils and some kind of meal mashed up for the carbohydrates, right? Or like straight cellulose or whatever. It's ridiculous, right? It's not a species appropriate diet. So all of the animal models we have that show a benefit of caloric restriction, they're not feeding the animals a species appropriate diet. So if you're feeding an animal something that poisons them, of course, caloric restriction, less of the fucking poison, is going to show a beneficial result in that creature. The same thing goes for humans. Why are we so stuck on eating fewer calories is good for us? Because from the moment we had nutrition science, from the moment we started studying human beings, which is just a few decades ago, everybody, when we first started real nutrition science, when we knew what micronutrients even were, we were already eating an inappropriate diet for our species. We were not eating a species appropriate diet. If you take humans who are used to eating toxic sludge, which is most of our food in America, and then restrict calories, oh my God, they get healthier. Does that mean that caloric restriction makes us healthier? Not across the board blanket statement, because I can have you eat 4,000 calories as a carnivore every day and somehow lose body fat and be super healthy. Wait, what? Now all of a sudden calories don't matter. Why? Because you're eating ribeyes, something that humans have been eating for 3.5 million years. This is the example of a species appropriate diet. If you're eating Clovis, you are eating nothing but whole foods, paleo whole foods, okay? You are eating a species appropriate diet, which is why I'm not gonna cut your calories to 1,000 calories a day, which is why Jackie's talked about this a lot. I force feed you. You feel like I'm force feeding you 1,400 calories, and you're still effortlessly dropping fat faster than you ever have in your life. Why? Because I'm feeding you a species appropriate diet. You don't need to restrict the shit out of calories when the food you're eating is not poison. That's like saying, hey, if you drink a gallon of bleach a day, you're gonna die. But if you drink a tablespoon of bleach a day, you might not die. Therefore, less bleach is good for your health. That's the logic. Can you stop and think about that for a second? Stop and think about what I just said. Drinking a lot of bleach is toxic. It will kill you. So if you drink less bleach, it's really good for you. That's the same exact concept that these evidence-based PhD calorie counting pricks can't get through their heads. How do you not understand the lunacy with this? It's just crazy. So yes, I'm all for intermittent fasting. I'm all for extended fasting, whatever you need to do, if you're metabolically broken. A guy like me, I don't need to intermittent fast every day. I don't need to do 5-day fast to prevent myself from getting cancer. All this stuff is so overblown because it all only works in context with a standard American diet. That's it. All of the science we have is based on the standard American diet, right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, everybody. This is crazy. So no, to answer your question, Donnie, I don't think intermittent fasting is inherently bad. No, I think it's just very nuanced. Intermittent fasting, any kind of fasting, is very nuanced. And autophagy. Everyone is obsessed with autophagy right now. Lifting weights induces autophagy. Body weight training induces autophagy. Getting in a sauna induces autophagy. Coffee, black coffee, helps autophagy. Cold therapy, cold showers in the morning, helps autophagy, right? Sorry, I'm tongue twisting myself here. But think about that for a second. So people are like, I want autophagy. I need to fast for 7 days. And then a week later, I'm going to fast for 24 hours. And I'm going to do 16 hours a day of intermittent fasting. And I'm going to do 1 meal a day. You don't need all that. You don't need all of that when you're eating a species appropriate fucking diet. Okay? Eat a species appropriate diet. For the love of Jesus. Do it. That's it. Everything fixed. Everything. Eat a species appropriate diet and do body weight demand training every single day. You can do it 7 days a week and not worry about overtraining. That's it. What are we doing here, everybody? It's lunacy. This is also why I can't make money. Because I can't just create, it's the simplest shit in the world. I just tell you the simplest things on planet Earth. That's it. This is how I live my life, everybody. This is how I got here. After 17 years of doing all the things you've ever done and then some, okay? After 17 years of doing it completely wrong, I have gotten to this place. So understand that the only reason I rant like this is because I wish someone had told me this when I was 15 years old and hated my body and was chugging ephedrine pills and whey protein shakes, right? Crazy. You triggered a rant, Donnie. You did. It happens all the time. PhD calorie counting pricks. Yes. New t-shirt. That's what I need to do. I need to just make all these t-shirts of Justin's sayings, and then maybe Clovis will make money. Deanna, I so appreciate you knowing your audience and realizing we all don't look like you yet. It would be boring if you did, right? And all have different body types and different lives, babies, etc. Most people who talk about any type of health really turn me off because they criticize me for being overweight and want me to do what they do. You are nothing like that. You are amazing, truthful, and totally get people. So thank you. You are totally changing the world one person at a time. Thank you. That means the world to me. I change the world one person at a time by you creating ripple effects. I tell you something, you tell your kid, you tell your husband, you tell your sister, whatever. That's how this all happens, right? So the beauty of this Clovis thing is really all of you. I know that you all think that it's me. I do not think that, and it is 100% you. So this is nothing. Clovis is nothing without you. I'm not here if people are not on this Facebook Live, right? So thank you for trusting me, for trusting my advice. It means the world to me. I often read comments like that and get goosebumps. I don't think I'll ever get tired of reading comments like that. And I need you guys to remember, I was an overweight kid. I still struggle a bit with body dysmorphia. I know that when I look in the mirror that other people would see this being that I'm looking at, be like, he has muscles, I don't see it that way. I will probably always be a chubby kid at heart. I really have that weird thing. I cannot see myself the way other human beings do. Occasionally I'll see a picture of myself on a boat or something, and I'm like, oh, you got abs sticking out of your side. Holy crap. Who's that guy? It doesn't hit me that it's me. So for all the women out there, I want you to understand that body dysmorphia is very real with men. I know a lot of men like me that just hated their bodies for their entire lives. I mean, hated their bodies. Like I spent most of my life really hating my body, really being insecure. I got in probably more street fights than you could possibly imagine when I was young, and that was all because of insecurity. I was so scared that somebody was going to expose that I wasn't tough that I won all the fights. Like my brain was just so fucking terrified of being exposed, and my insecurity was so crazy that I just had like superhuman strength and just, I mean, I did a lot of stupid things when I was younger, but yeah, it's all off of insecurity. So that's the thing, is like when you, like Deanna, I would never, ever, ever criticize somebody for being overweight, ever. Now, if you consume all my Clovis content and we make you a custom nutrition plan and you have success and all these things and then randomly fall off the wagon and gain it all back, I still don't criticize you, but I say, uh-oh, there is underlying psychological and emotional work that needs to be done before you're even ready for Clovis. So that's the thing. I have fired clients in the past who are not ready. I have suggested therapy for people. I have pointed them in the direction of other influencers who can handle the really deep-seated emotional stuff a little bit better than I can. I'm quite equipped at handling it now. I do pretty well one-on-one. Anybody who's done a coaching call with me knows that I can handle these things pretty well. But yeah, I mean, I all in all, I just love the comment, Deanna. Thank you. Yeah, I would never, ever, ever criticize an overweight person unless they're an obese registered dietitian who tells people to do what they do. Those people will receive criticism from me, but they're getting paid to give advice. So that's a little bit different. All right. Yeah. Ranting. Sorry. What else are we at here? All right. So, yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about with fitness, a couple things quick, and then we'll wrap up, is Deanna, this touches on your thing as well. And it also touches on the last comment we talked about of lost 50 pounds and might be interested in doing some exercise. Do things that you like, okay? So if you don't like the thing, don't do it just because there's a particular result in mind. Now, that said, something like body weight demand training is painful. It's going to be physically painful while you're doing it, but it's 10 minutes a day, right? So do that. Just go ahead and do that. Try it out, experiment with it, hit me up with questions about it, whatever you need. That's totally cool. But what I mean by this is I posted an Instagram post about how stupid I think steady state chronic cardio is and how stupid I think steady state cardio is for fat loss and all these things, unless it's aerobic threshold training, whatever, right? There's details there. But one of my great friends, Paul McGee, who loves running, had like the best comment ever. He just commented and said, people who run who don't like running are freaking dumb. And I was like, yes, you just hit the nail on the head. That's it. Like, people suffer on these cardio equipment machines because they think they're going to lose fat. They're doing this thing that they absolutely hate. It makes them miserable. How are you going to get out of bed every day to do something that makes you miserable, and you're going to do it for an hour in a gym while reading a Cosmo magazine, huffing and puffing, sweating? You hate every second of it. It feels like an hour feels like 10 days. You hate it so much. Don't do that. There are people who love running. My friend Paul, who made that comment, loves running. He loves to put random weights in his backpack and go run 20 miles. He's a psychopath, loves running. This genuinely makes him happy. So I would never criticize him for doing running, right? But he's so right. This idea that that people who just hate running shouldn't be running. Why would you do that? Don't do something that you hate, right? So if you hate fitness, adopt something like body weight demand training, like I just talked about. So at least you only have to hate your life for 10 minutes, and then you move on with the rest of your day. So 10 minutes a day, I can cover all my bases of physical fitness. Wow, that's amazing, right? There you go. So just don't do things that you hate. You absolutely don't need to do that. Don't do things that you hate. And then at the extreme end of this, let's dig into another conversation that I had with Rob Wolf recently. Was talking about sauna, right? So sauna, traditional, we're going to talk about traditional, also known as Finnish sauna. Traditional sauna has been shown in clinical settings to be an exercise mimetic in terms of cardiovascular health. So the body gets so hot, this is just a heat thing, the body gets so hot, it's trying to cool itself down so much that you can get the same exercise mimetic, it's literally mimicking low-level aerobic exercise. You can get as high as 100, 150 beats per minute in terms of heart rate. So you're sitting like between 120 BPM and 150 BPM. This is like low-level aerobic threshold training. So it's going to have a cardiovascular benefit. It's going to have a fat burning benefit. This is a fantastic way to burn fat, getting in the sauna. Again, if you're eating a proper amount of dietary carbohydrates to allow fat burning to even happen, right? So what Rob was talking about was Rob hates the sauna. He doesn't like sitting in the sauna. The hyperthermia makes him miserable. He would rather just go jog. I would rather sit in the sauna than jog. So like if you're an overweight or obese person and you really don't want to jog, then just follow a Clovis nutrition protocol. Here, I'll give you the secret right here. Follow a Clovis nutrition protocol. Maybe do a 12 to 13 hour fast every day, just like a circadian rhythm fast, 12 hours, right? And if you can make this work with your schedule, I'm not saying everybody can, find a YMCA or a gym with a traditional sauna. And on the tail end of your fast, maybe hour 11 or hour 12, go sit in that sauna for 40 minutes. You'll burn a bunch of body fat. I promise. You will burn a bunch of body fat doing that. Okay? Fantastic. Awesome. Nice and easy. So even if you just did that every single day, you just hate fitness so much that you never, ever, ever want to do it, then do a little hack like that. Do the sauna and then do a cold shower, which activates white adipose tissue into brown adipose tissue, makes it metabolically active. You burn more calories. All of a sudden, you're burning more body fat just from heat and cold exposure. Fantastic, right? There you go. Tips and tricks, everybody. It doesn't get it much simpler than this. Fitness is a cat that you can all skin. The vegans won't like that one, but it is. You can absolutely do this. Everybody can do this, okay? There's no reason why you can't get in shape. Jackie, yes, it's not all like the weight loss transformation shows where people fix their brains and hearts by losing weight. Presto, changeo. Nope, there's more work to be done. There is endless work to be done. I had an earth-shattering, this one I actually can't go into with you guys, but maybe someday I will, but if I write a book or something. But I had an earth-shattering just breakthrough in a traditional therapy session just a few weeks ago. Now I've been exploring new books, shit that I never even thought I would read about in my entire life. And it all just stems back to childhood stuff. We forget things, everybody. We forget things that happened, So all of a sudden we just like can't stick to a fitness plan or can't stick to a nutrition plan. And we hate ourselves. All of our relationships fail. We're divorced. We're this, we're that. And it's just shame, 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 shame. Which is why if you're not sitting down and journaling, if you're not trying a mindfulness meditation practice, if you have the money and the time and are not seeing a therapist, what is wrong with you? Go do that. It's the best money I've ever spent in my life, period. Okay? Except maybe for the money I spent on psychedelics. That works too. But yeah, I mean, the work is never ending. It is never ending. I promise you, you are a scared little child in a grown-up body. Because I am a very confident dude. You guys look at my companies. Look at my entire music career before I did this. Look at my training martial arts. I was a boxer, my weapons training, my Clovis, my rock and roll pianos company that I own, all the TV show that I did, my YouTube channels, blah, 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 all the things, right? Confident, 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 confident. I have been a scared little kid in this grown-up body my whole life. I just had the wherewithal and perseverance to build an Iron Man suit around this little kid. That's what I did. I just wear an Iron Man suit, everybody. I built an Iron Man suit so that little kid doesn't have to be scared anymore. You see what I'm saying? This is where this stuff comes from. So if you're overweight and you just can't figure out why, you got to go inward. You got to go deep and figure this stuff out. Okay? And it's super tricky to do because, you know, sugar is a drug. It's an addicting drug. And we have a sugar dealer, legal sugar dealer on every single corner in America. It's very difficult to overcome these things if you don't have your emotions and your mental health in check. It's a big deal. Laura, coaching calls with Justin are amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Awesome. Beats per minute. Yes, BPM means beats per minute. Sorry about that. I forget these things. You can even dry fast for even more fat loss as the body will ramp up fat breakdown to access metabolic water. Very true. Definitely not good for newbies. That is a pretty miserable experience. Dry fasting is pretty brutal. Usually it's done in like religious settings, but it can be incredibly powerful. Yeah, like if you had, I don't know, if you had like for fighters, right? Like my fighters weigh in, like we'll usually do a 24-hour dry fast before they do their weigh-ins, and nobody's in a good mood after a 24-hour dry fast. I promise you, they're all real grumpy. But yeah, the metabolic water thing is really interesting, and yeah, good comment, dude. All right, so we're about there. Anybody have any questions before we wrap up AMA number 96? I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was one that I really wanted to dig into for a long time, and I really like this AMA setting. I thought about doing this as a whiteboard presentation, and then I was really thinking about it. I was like, there's not a whole lot to draw on the whiteboard. It's just, I can discuss this with you and make it make sense. And the tricky thing about the whiteboard presentations is the whiteboard presentations are great. They just don't translate well to audio. So you guys probably don't notice this, but when I do whiteboard presentations, I'm actually having to think about like, okay, I'm drawing this on the board, but I'm explaining this in a way that it will also make sense on audio. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of prep goes into those. You'll notice that about my whiteboard presentations is if you listen to them on the podcast, my earlier whiteboard presentations, like single digit AMAs, I did a really bad job of relying on the visuals. You know what I mean? Like this right here and this right here. See this right here? This thing means this. Where in my later AMAs, as I got better at this, there's no class on how to be a podcaster, right? So as things went on, it would be like, this tank that I've drawn right here, the bottom half of this graph, this is a gas tank of your entire body. And I would like actually detail what I was drawing on the board. So it worked a little bit better, translate a little bit better for audio, but I had to get good at that and practice that skill. Just like anything else, I'm always practicing and learning and trying to get better at this stuff. The more feedback I get, the better, which is why I love you guys for being here every week and giving me your comments and everything. Thank you for the questions. You can always submit questions at ama.iamclovis.com. You can get a custom nutrition plan from me at iamclovis.com/start. That said, huge news, everybody. There is a free Clovis 5-day challenge that is going to be launching in January. There is the 5-day challenge. There is the Clovis 21-day challenge. There is the I Am Clovis membership. I do not know how long the member price for custom nutrition plans is going to be $47, which is what it is right now. You become an I Am Clovis member, which is a free trial for 7 days, and then you can buy a custom nutrition plan at the price of $47. I don't know how long that is going to last. The membership platform is going to change. The monthly membership price is going to change. I don't know these numbers yet, but this is all happening behind the scenes. I'm working with fantastic people who are really helping me, because at the end of the day, you guys, I have to make this company sustainable. And right now, the company takes a lot more than it gives. Like, so does that make sense? The company, let me rephrase that. In society, the company gives a lot more than it takes, meaning I am constantly just spitting value out into the world, and there's not a corresponding, even anywhere near equal amount of money coming into the company, which makes it a bit unsustainable, right? So it's really just kind of sucking resources, putting a tremendous amount of value into the world, but also sucking resources. And I have to keep this thing afloat because this is my fucking mission. Like, this is my mission for my life, is Clovis. So I just need to rethink some things and really tweak things and make this thing work. And I will, I promise you. Like, I need to get the word perseverance tattooed on my forehead at this point in my life with all the things that I've done. But yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So I'm going to try to make this thing work for you guys so this doesn't go anywhere and we can just keep, really, really helping people and really changing people's lives for the better. So also new podcast tomorrow. It won't be out tomorrow, but I'm doing a full-blown genetics test analytics, analyzing my genetics data with Dr. Anthony J. I'll put that up on the podcast. So you will actually be literally interpreting my genetic results right there on the podcast. And genetics testing, we know next to nothing about it. Dr. Anthony J is like super open about that. He's about as good as an expert can get in this field right now. And we're going to talk about all this stuff because people get 23andMe and stuff and they're just super confused on what to do with that data. So yeah, that'll be a cool little podcast. I'm going to release a Just Justin this week and then probably going to put out another Clovis client testimony podcast maybe next week on Tuesday. So yeah, I'm going to really, really be ramping up podcasts, really, really be ramping up content and trying to make this thing work best I can. So I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Click the happy button, the love button, the smiley button, the wow button. If I taught you something, share this. Click the share button right now. Share it to your timeline. Tag your friends who are fitness enthusiasts. Tag your friends who do fitness each and every day and you know that they secretly hate it and won't shut up about it. Like 4 a.m. gym selfie, getting my work in. And you know that they put the phone away and they're like, I hate this. I hate every second of this. Kill me now, right? Don't live your life like that. Tag your friend in this so they can watch this and learn the secrets of actual exercise and fitness, being a fit person. Minimum effective dose, everybody. All right, guys, I love you. Happy Wednesday night. Happy AMA number 96. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the Facebook groups tomorrow. Okay, good night. Love you. Bye.